2022's wick or candle?
Yeah, we can take a look at that today, to be honest. One sec. I'll do
Because
a quick one.
69K is definitely an area with that that's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. If you're
Yes,
looking
sir.
at
I'll
it in
stop there.
terms of, and it's alright, bro. I don't mind. You guys can talk all you want. Prefer it that way anyway. But yeah, in terms of key inflection areas, we're holding the mid for now, right? We're holding the mid of the weekly fair value gap for now, the 76,928. That's what we're bouncing off. But apart from that, and like there's a reason why we're bouncing off where we are in terms of um, I don't want to say historical price action, but in terms of key levels anyway, because we also know that the main way I'm looking at this right now on Bitcoin is if I share my screen. I just realized I don't think I have. Here we go. Right, the main way I'm looking at this right now on Bitcoin is where's it gone? Here. You guys are already familiar with this. I don't think we've done this yet, so but we'll do this soon, bro. Diagonal fibs, that'll be done very very soon. So, but in terms of the price action, right? What we've been doing, again, this is something I mentioned way ahead of time, but there's a reason why we're rejecting off where we are in terms of historical action. The 618, right? This is from your initial peak up in 2021 of April, right? The 618 that was resistance for the longest time was simply the same level you went and rejected off. So yes, even though you don't have historical price action here, in terms of price visiting the this being the first time you visited 100k, you do have historical price action here in the context of diagonals, right? Very important diagonals. What was once resistance is exactly the same thing that provided you with resistance once again. Now, of course, pair this with the fact you had the ABCDs lining up, absolutely perfect in terms of confluence, right? So you had very nice intersections here, like we drew on a while ago. And why am I saying, be careful until this gets flipped? Now, the reason I'm saying that is because, yes, we're bouncing off the 618 of the previous completed wave cycle now, right, which is always good, right? You're bouncing off the golden pocket. But in terms of historic price action, again, we have this as support at one point that turned to resistance, that was resistance again, and now you're below it. So if you keep going up and keep treating it as resistance, you could very easily have one deeper pullback before you actually extend upwards, right? So at this particular stage in time, a reclaim would go a very, very long way in setting you up to just trampoline higher to higher targets, basically. So that's that on Bitcoin. Let me turn that off though now. And like I said, in terms of key inflection areas on Bitcoin, we've got the diagonals and the weekly fair value gap for the reason we're bouncing, but in terms of historic data now, in terms of horizontals, I would want us to, tap into 73, and to be honest, I'd want us to go a bit deeper into like 68, 69-ish, right? Really defend that area and then go higher, basically. That'd be nice, but of course, I feel like many people would be waiting for that, so I think we either front run it, which we're doing now, right? Number one, or we go and extend past it. So I'd be looking between 65 to 62, let's say, right? I wouldn't put that out of the question, and then reclaim and go higher. All of that's open to possibility, right? Basically, that's the, if we wouldn't be surprised if price did go down over there. But that doesn't mean we don't we just completely stay sidelined or anything. I feel like with many of these coins right now, you could literally size up your fullest as long as you do so with tight stop losses. What you're not going to do if you want to size up, right? You're not going to go all in with very wide stops. That's something I would recommend you don't do. If you're going to go in, I'd recommend doing so with very very tight stops. Right, that's it for alts. But yeah, the like you were saying, brother, a lot of key levels have been hit, right, in terms of buy seller zones, so on and so forth. For example, USDT dominance back below the fair value gap here, not the fair value gap, sorry, the key support resistance zone we've got marked down, right, back below there. Your 2024 12-month seller zone, mid macro read, you're SFPing that currently, but your 23, 24, 12-month buy seller zone you're treating as support. So you're sandwiched between two key levels basically here, but you currently are. But yeah, let's see. On the higher time frame, I think structure looks interesting for sure. USDT plus USDC dominance again at resistance. We haven't got above it yet. ETH dominance now, right? This is starting to look a bit nasty. It's on the monthly as well. But Within 18 days, if you can go and close above 8.80%, 9.13%, then again, the argument for a smiley face remains, right? An argument for smiley face remains. We have hit the macro 886. In terms of ETH dominance, we just need some sort of follow through from here now. That's it. So if we look at ETHD, smiley face, potential smiley face here, we need confirmation. We haven't got that yet. But the 886 has been tagged, right? So again, I don't care if we chop lower, as long as the overall structure comes and pertains to a hold of the 886, and then maybe one blast higher after that. But definitely ETH against BTC, no sorry, ETH dominance, something to keep an eye on for now. I mean, if this doesn't hold, right, you get no reaction here, because we just got here. Let's give it some time. But if you get absolutely no reaction, this is looking trash. I'd expect a raid of the lows, basically, right? Go raid the lows, which would be very, very weak, because that'd be the lowest Ethereum dominance has ever fell. So I'll be very interested to see what happens over here. Total 1, let's take a look. Still holding 2.61 trillion, right? By the skin, by its very, very close right now. You can see that's literally what you're fighting against, the 2021 12-month seller zone mid, right? We know this level needs to be support. If it's not, then we can't be surprised if over time we trend down towards 2.19 trillion. But if we can get above, especially 2.62 trillion, right? This is tiny zone between 2.61 and 2.62 trillion. 2.6 and 2.62 trillion, sorry. If we can get above this, then again, what we're saying on the monthly is we're saying, we're above areas where previously buyers couldn't close any candle bodies, you'd be above it, right? So again, I want to see this monthly close above 2.62 trillion. If that were to happen, this would be absolutely amazing. Above 2.62 trillion and above last month buy zone mid would be great. But 18 days left, let's see, right? Total 2. Front ran 2022 12 month macro reseller zone mid, very, very close, but front ran it. Nothing much to say. If you defend the mid, you run up towards the highs again. If you don't defend the mid, then a range lows what I'll be looking at. Sweep 755.73 billion basically. Nothing's changed there. Total 3, below the mid of the mitigated liquidity pocket, right? The mitigated order block in this particular case, if you were to take a look at it on the weekly. Below the mid of that still, you're turning it to resistance right there. Also, you're currently below the external range of your previous consolidation range, right? Your external highs, or rather, your range highs, let's say. Treating that as resistance as well. You're currently treating, I believe, your fair value gap mid as resistance. No, you're fighting around it. But however, you are above the mid of your this supply zone over here. You're above the mid of that and holding the low of this. So as long as you can maintain this area, right? If you can maintain this, there's always an argument as to why you could reclaim and go, right? What you don't want to be doing now is if you turn that to resistance as well. I don't see much keeping it up until this gets down to like 647 to 608 billion, basically this zone. Okay. Others. What's it? 837. I want the 886 at this rate, right? Just give me the 886 would be nice. But let's see if we get it. You've gone into the mid of this consolidation range now, which is what we said would happen if you lost the range lows. We're holding the 2021 12-month buy zone mid, like we were talking about. If this is lost, 886. If 886 is lost, then I'd say raid 150 billion before going higher. Total DeFi, holding the trend still for now. You can see we've gone to the bottom, holding it. However, we haven't got a strong reaction off it yet. So if you go up and turn these to resistance, you could very easily see a wick down before you sort of reclaim them back to the upside, right? And last but not least, we have others dominance, right? Others dominance is still holding, literally still holding this area. Now is you're starting to turn the highs into resistance now as we speak, but as long as you can hold this, which is the same thing we've been saying, right? In this case, the 2.618 right now. If you can hold that, when any reclaims would be nice. You could get pumps up, even if it's to resistance. It'd still be tiny little relief pumps. But this looks a bit. There's no reaction, right? You've been sat in this area for a long time. Any reaction from the buyer side in this case is met by just straight selling. This looks like absorption to me, locally speaking. So let's see what happens here, right? We need some sort of absolutely huge news to just absolutely blast us through, basically, right? Because we're at the support now. If we don't and we keep absorbing, I wouldn't be surprised if we started flushing this and going down towards the range mid. So let's take a look. But as long as this holds, you've got a sliver of hope for your alts. As long as this holds, there's a sliver of hope for your alts on the higher time frame. Total 3 against BTC. Sad area that needs to be held at the end of the day. This one. Take a look. Your BAT PRZ respected. Your ABCD respected. And your very, very reactive area, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, support, right, held. So again, if you hold this, what you're saying is, you wouldn't be surprised if this goes up towards your next main resistance, which is 0.55. I.e., you'd expect some, total 3 as a indice, you'd expect that to outperform Bitcoin, right? Because it's total 3 against Bitcoin. That basically means you're going to see some money rotations into your, into your higher cap altcoins, right? Total 3. So yeah, that's, this, like I said, all hope hasn't been lost for alts, right? This is what I'm saying. If you see any alts where you can manage your risk super, super easy, worth taking a shot. Right? It's worth taking a shot. It's what it is. But yeah, like you were saying, many of these buyer-seller zones currently being respected, also being respected as resistance, right? Which is something we should mention currently. For example, on Total 1, like we were talking about, resistance right now instead of support. You are trying to treat it as resistance, right? So we need to get off this now. One thing I would like to look at also is Bitcoin dominance. Very, very strong. So like we were looking at this last time, you're trying to break out. You flip the top of your monthly. Again, on the monthly, this is your monthly seller zone, right? Right here. Monthly seller zone. You're flipping the top of that into support, as we can see currently. If you go to the hourly, for some reason, it's a retest on the hourly. The top's being flipped to support. On the hourly, on the daily, it's not quite there yet for some reason, but at the end of the day, above this, like I said, 62.62%, and then you have 64.1 to 64.34%, and then you have your 1.618 target, the mid of the 2-week fair value gap, all the way up here. Right. So the reason I'm going through this really quick is because nothing has changed on the macro, not yet. Right. We haven't had any major bullish reclaims or anything like this, but neither have we had any major breakdowns yet. Right. We're sat at the same area we were sat at, last week, basically, right? There's not much volatility yet, nothing much has happened. So let's see, let's continue to monitor this and see what kind of price action we get, right? So we looked at Bitcoin, right? So what I'm going to do today is, you guys had some chart requests, right? We're going to go over some of your chart requests. I thought I'd do that. We'll go over some cryptos and stuff as well, but we'll also go over your chart requests and then just see what's what. So first of all, Ryu asked for a bearer chart on the 6th of March, literally just seeing this now. I see he asked for a rats one as well. I'm not sure if I said my rats chart, but that's a while ago anyway. So let's do the bearer chart. Let's do the... actually, no, wait, no. What am I talking about? I gave the bearer chart. Never mind. So we're looking at the hype chart, right? Because Eugene and Anti both wanted the hype chart. So let's go over hype, okay? Hype is right over here. I'm looking at hype like this. Nothing much has changed since my last video on this, but I mean, I might as well explain it to you guys again. Right here, right? I like hype where we currently are in terms of risk to reward, right? That is it. So, for example, right over here, if you take a look where we are, right? Oh, now, of course, trend is to the downside, right? Lower highs and lower lows, accelerated selling. Buyers have not stepped in yet. There is nothing bullish, locally speaking, about this chart, right? What do we have, however, is now if you look at the monthly, right, and you can look at the data, your monthly macro read buy zone mid, right? Your monthly macro read buy zone mid, you are basing off the area right now. If you take a look, you're below it. You've turned it to resistance, right? So if you can reclaim that, you're going back up towards minimum 15.49, right? That's going to happen. So, however, below this, I would not even be sizing up heavy below $13.28, right? Because your actual key levels in terms of just support resistance, right, is above you right now, right? Now below this, what do we have right now? The reason I marked this area is because not just because it's the 2024 monthly macro read buys on mid, the 702-707, right, of your macro fib retracement, right, in this case, is also lining up in this area, which is currently where we're bouncing off of, right, the 707. We've hit the liquidity rate of the golden pockets on retracement. Okay, now if you were to look at this chart on the log, you would realize your log 414, your shallow retracement golden pocket liquidity rate, is at 11.84. Okay, so that's just below us as well. As long as you hold this zone, you have a reason to try and base here, right? You're just looking for price action to tell you, yeah, buyers are stepping in, so on and so forth. You have a reason to base here as long as you hold these up to 11.84. Now, if you go and lose this zone, right? If you go and lose 11.84 as well, I see no other reason why you wouldn't just drop straight down to at least $9.56. That's where your next major fib level is, right? 786 in terms of wave structure as well is around $9.56. So then that's where I look for it to drop. And if you lose that as well, your macro 886 right now sat at $6.26. Okay. So if you lose this zone, basically below 1184, you have way more room for downside on hype. Okay. That's just the way it is right now. However, should we base around here, and for just for argument's sake, right? For now, let's say we do, let's make the argument this was the bottom, right? What if this is the bottom at the 707? Then we have a simple ABC. If we have a 707 on the C point, then the D extension is 1.414, right? If the D extension is 1.414, that's going to take your macro target to hype around $45. But right now, all this is a projection based on if we bottom here. We didn't even have confirmation of a bottom or nothing like this. Okay, so just be very careful here. However, like I said, in terms of risk to reward, not a bad area at all, right? So locally speaking, I was looking at this earlier, right? And I actually entered this myself just a tiny bit ago based on this, because I was gonna come online and just tell you guys this, but I was I was an hour late, and now we've had this tiny move up already. But even then, for spot, this is an amazing area to at least manage your risk, right? Very, very easy. It doesn't matter if you enter this or if you enter literally here. For spot, I would simply be holding down towards 0.414. And honestly, like I said, 20, 40, 40, if you don't have a trend shift yet, you're not even going to go in with the full position size here. Okay, I wouldn't go full position size here. You can wait to size up at reclaims of key levels and even lower time frame shift in structure, which you haven't got at all, right? So something like the 4 hours, right? Your last lower high, that led to the lower low, right over here. Maybe you take it out, right? Maybe you do this and then some sort of macro high low. After taking out a bunch of lower highs, you can size up, right? With confirmation on the right side of the V. Doesn't make sense to go all in now when we're literally just selling off.
Thank you.
Right, so that's something to consider. But that is hype. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually I'll put this, so I've already shared the Ondo chart, but I'll put this underneath the, the old section where we're going to go over our all calls. I'll put it there. I'll put the, hold on, where? I added some new channels, so I just, oh my god, one sec. Yeah, underneath the old section, Ondo's open, we'll add some more hype, because just because your stop loss is easy to manage here. Few more alts, we'll take a look at what's good and we'll add it there. But yeah, that's hype. So for Eugene, I know you're on the stream, bro. I see you here, and Anti, I know both of you asking about this. That's the hype chart right there.
Thank you, man.
No problem at all, brother.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. No problem at all. Right, yeah, we can take a look at some stocks as well, so for sure, bro. I'll take a look at the ones you were talking about. But the Chinese stock stream that Rai wants to do, I'll save that for another day. I want to do like a dedicated one for that. But we take a quick look. Vanry, hanging on by a thread. If you take a look, you are at the most low risk areas imaginable for coins like this. The only thing a lower risk than this, in fact, is just over here. Which is, of course, now this is literally external liquidity. You bounced off the top of it. This is your 2-week demand zone. I mean, if you wanted a low risk entry, you're not going to get any lower risk than this, right? So weekly closes in 3 days, but let's see, like, but it's not going to get lower risk than this. Even you've got like a more than a 2x, literally just a local resistance at 0.006 cents. So for I wouldn't have right now. Vanry isn't in my list of top 10 anymore, right? It's not going to be, like, this thing hasn't shown strength. But in terms of just like a bag you want to throw in just to try and get some multiples off and just sell quick time to just compound with, you know, it's very very easy to manage your risk on Vanry. You can't deny the area we're in, right? You can't deny it. Anytime you're above this, well, it's up only. Below this, it's not much of a risk, right? So for spot, Vanry's an amazing one to try and play. Not in terms of like, oh, this project's gonna change lives or anything like that. Simply in terms of risk to reward, right? Where you are, how much are you gonna lose if you're wrong, especially if you manage your risk with 20-40-40, versus even to your first obvious target, how much are you gonna make? More than a 2x, right? Okay, so let's look at Solana. What's you doing below the 126? Like I said, below this, high chance you run towards 102. Alright, so now we're literally turning even this, what was our last major support where we bounced off of, caught that nice scalp up to the 175 short. Even that is now confirming to be resistance, right? Your only hope is the fact that you are currently at the 618, right? If you take a look at the weekly in terms of wave structure from that A to your macro B, now you are at the 618, right? Right there. So if the 618 can hold on the higher time frame, then 1.618 wouldn't be a surprise, right? But if you get below that 618, honestly, next thing you have is the 102.54, 94, so on and so forth, Solana. So I'll look at a rate of literally all of these here. So basically, you guys know what this means for me, right? This means you're very close to res. For me, might as well just wait for this reclaim if you're going to enter Sol. Above this level, you can see very, very well, we go up, right? But below this, I don't see the point in entering. Just enter when you reclaim, right? Injective, add key inflection area mid, trying to lose it. Very, very close to getting to this key inflection area. Sorry, historical range mid. So, if you take a look at this, this is going to be a bit messy. So let's go to the hourly, zoom in. Not needed. Over here, let's take a look. We've hit the 3.618. We've hit the 2021 12-month seller zone low right here, right? If you create any sort of, let's take a look. What's about the 4 hours? 4 hours is another lower high. If that flushes, honestly, below this level, below $8.24, I simply think we're gonna get our 886. That's what I think. I think your macro 886 at that. I think we're gonna get it. I think we get this shark. That'd be a beautiful place to add to more range on spot if you're wanting to, right around the area. What else do we have? We have a 87, basically an 886, right? So basically we have a deep crab over here. That's what this is, right? You have a deep crab, plus you have a macro shark, both PRZs lining up in this area. Once you get here, right, you're waiting for a cumulative structure, basically buyers to step in, take the supply off the market without being overwhelmed. If that happens, then you get in with them. And the price action, you look at the structure at this area. If you want to limit here, you can, but you guys know my thoughts on limits. Don't go all in on limits, right? Just because might as well wait to at least see what's going to happen, right? We don't have crystal balls. We can't for certain say, yes, I'm going to limit my entire bag here and it's going to bounce exactly from here. So in terms of just like optimum entries and risk management, I wouldn't limit. I'll do partial limits basically, right? Whatever your position size is, maybe half of that in limits, keep half to actually add into on top of confirmation. Because yes, that's the best of both worlds, right? If you 100% limit, but then you go way past this without any reaction, you're losing money for no reason. If you go 0% on limits and then you get there and you miss it and you wicks up, you're missing the optimal entry. So, spreading it out, some for limits to at least have a position ready, and then some to add on a size up. That way, even if you get stopped out, you're getting stopped out on a portion of your allocation rather than your whole allocation. And if you do get filled, you don't get stopped out and go up, you have an average from lower which you can size up with and then build a better average basically, right? It's the best of both worlds. But yeah, injective, right? I think, below 824 for now, right? Below that level, we're gonna get the PRZs, right? I think I have made injective. One sec. Have I? Yes, I have. Here we go. Historical price range 2. The high is resistance, right? We've already confirmed the HPR2 historical price range 2 high to be resistance. Therefore we know, as long as you're turning historical price range 2 high into resistance, I've not got any key inflection areas on this, but you guys know how to find them anyway, right? But as long as we're turning historical price range 2 into resistance, historical price range 2 mid is the next obvious target, right? If you flip this into support, then it's going to be straight towards $17. Above 13 and 12, of course. Above that, it's going to be 17. Above that, it's going to be 25 to 27, then 30, then 35, then 44, then 52. If you're talking level by level, those are the range highs and the range of mids that we're dealing with. So you can see then Injective is now approaching extremely crucial areas, right? For example, actually, let me just spot something. Have we lost this? I mean, we've already lost that, actually. That's crazy. So never mind. If you ever go and turn this into resistance in the future, do be careful. But the reclaim of this would be absolutely amazing to send us higher. But in that case, let's take a look. So the key inflection areas are right over here. What about diagonals? Do we have any? Yeah. There we go. We're bouncing off of, I believe that is the 87886. Right, you've hit your macro 87886 in terms of your fib retracement. This is from your macro low of this chart, of the crypto index chart, to the current macro high of Injective. You hit the deep retracement, right? So again, this harmonic is only going to hit if sellers lose this level. If buyers can keep up with the demands of this trend over time, it is going to be support. Therefore, there's a higher chance we get that $16, $17 target higher. Right, so just be careful, be wary that yes, we are now at very, very crucial areas. Right now, you pair that up with the fact here. So if I was to go and do the same thing, that's Binance. Let's look over here. That is 41 cents, and that is, oh, one sec. Actually, Binance has a better chart. There we go. Right, 87886. Why on earth am I using this chart here then? When this, yeah, I should be using this one. Key inflection area between 692.48. There's a harmonic PRZ lining up with that level as well. That's what we need to know right now in terms of confluence for Inj. So I'll put all of these up in the relevant section later, right? Right now I'll give you guys the info first, and then you'll have an idea of when I now give this in the form of calls, right? In
Did I fail?
in the chat, not in the chat, sorry, in the relevant sections. We've got Ondo already, but I'll add all of these slowly but surely. For the main ones, I'm going to add.
Can I draw it?
I'm only
Thank
going
you.
to add like the big ones I'm going to use. The chart dump channels where I'm going to put pretty much anything I see M shape with. I'm not going to overwhelm you guys with calls, right? I'll put the most, let's say, I'll put like high caps, right? I'll put the actual ones that have the chance of catching liquidity on the main sections, and everything else I'll put on the chart dump, so you guys can still play them if you want, but you know the center stage should be on alls that now look ready for performance. ETH still holding 6 month buy sellers. In fact, let me go back to the chat and see. Yeah, Nasir brother, this is recorded, bro. This is recorded, yes. Yo, sup Wonka, brother. Sup Grove, welcome man.
Yo, what's up? Thanks
Yeah,
for the
brother.
stream, bro.
Anytime, brother, anytime. Right, let's take a look. 6 month buy seller zone mid on ETH. You guys know my thoughts. Scalp to swing mindset, as long as we're below this, right? That ETH hedge played out beautifully. This one right over here, right? So breakdown, rejection right over here, and then after that rejection, straight to the downside. Now I forget where I gave this. I forget whether it was on a YouTube video or a one-on-one session with one of you, but yeah, this one played out, right? This one was nice. Holding the 6 month buy seller zone mid. As long as this holds, again, your next obvious target should just be back towards here, right? 2039, basically. That's it. You've got a new range here to consider. Just do that. Consider this a range. As long as this holds, even on the daily, but if you take a look at this on the hourly, hopefully you're seeing, as long as this holds, there could be a smiley face up there. So in fact, if you wanted to, if you got some shorts open and you wanted to hedge along on ETH, this is definitely something you can try, okay? Just like, you know, reduce your position size if you're not comfortable with leverage, right? but that is something you can try right there. Entry stop loss below, I'll just put it below that, the sweep of that low there. The reason we're doing this, we're saying this is your deviation. If this is deviation, this is what needs to hold. Therefore, we're gonna put our invalidation below that level, right? Which is why it's here. 2.14, 2.15%, whatever, 2.5, whatever you're happy with, just below here. You're playing it simply up to there until this gets reclaimed, right? Scalp the swing mindset. Like I said, don't enter this thinking you're gonna now reach $6,000 ETH. We don't know that, right? So if you take this play and it gets here, what I don't want you guys to win is saying, oh, but it could go higher and not taking profits, right? You guys know what I think about that. Once it gets here, if it's a scalp to swing mindset and that was the original plan, you're gonna take some off the table here, right? Okay, listen, if you don't want to take the full thing off, that's up to you, right? That's the risk you're gonna have to take. You put your stop loss to break even, it's gonna be risk free anyway. But once you get here, take at least whatever you're happy with off. Right? I'm not gonna give you a percentage. Whatever you're happy with off, that's the best way you're going to long-term manage your positions. Don't listen to me, because what I'm happy with taking off might be different to what you're happy taking off. But when you get here, take off the amount you're happy with, right? And then put your stop loss to break even. That's how you turn scalp to swing mindset trades. Otherwise, just have the better thing to do would be just have two different ports. Like I say, don't keep your scalp and your swing, scalp and your intraday ports the same, right? Enter this on a scalp portfolio, also enter this on with a more higher time frame perspective in mind. For the scalp portfolio, just take profits once you get there, right? And the hedge is short if you see weakness. But once you get there and you don't see sellers stepping in and you close above, you don't need to take profits yet. Why? Because if you close above this and this turns to support, then you're just going to go higher, right? So price action wise, you're going to get there. As soon as you get there, and if you see, like, even on the 15 minutes, the 5 minutes, whatever, wicks closes below, just take some profit, right? Take profit on your scalp. Take enough profit where even if you hit stop loss and break even, you're going to be walking away with money that you made on the trade, right? And then on your more higher time frame one, you can just chill, you can just wait, and you can size up if this gets flipped, so on and so forth. That way you don't have to worry about, oh, do I take profit now or not? That might ruin my average later in the future. Scalp, it doesn't have to worry about that. And your higher time frame one, you just slowly, meticulously build a position out every time, right? But that right there is, if you wanted to try and play an ETH long, right, that'd be that right over there on the screen right now. One second. Yeah, that's that on the screen. So that's Ethereum. Higher time frame wise, you guys already know my thoughts on this, but if I go over here once, right, so I've got two different right now. You're below historical price range 2 mid, right? Historical price range 2 mid is going to take you to around 1950. So again, if you now have any sort of pullback to that area, in fact we've already had this once, right? You've turned the HPR mid into resistance. So as long as you stay below this, again, you guys know the bottom of the historical price range around 1,463, not out of the question. But if you can reclaim this, then we don't need to worry about this price. We simply worry about going back to attack $2,000 area right over here, right? Reclaim that, and all of these once again are in action. So very uninspiring price action across the board, that's for sure. Very, very uninspiring price action being painted on our canvases. So ETH BTC, let's take a look at that. Absolutely terrible, right? It's so disappointing. Look at the confluence we had. And again, I did say, I wouldn't be surprised if we did get a wick down, but I didn't want to see it, right? You're losing your Macrobat 886, your Macro Shark 886, your standard deviation 1 value area low for your high to low impulse, your standard deviation 1 low to high impulse point of control, right? The 0.94 that was lining up in this area, all of that's been lost. Below this, you've got 0.2126, and then you've got 0.1969, so on and so forth. This is just, it's not looking nice, right? That's the problem. It's not looking nice here, and we have no shot of even trying to build, right? The argument could be there if we were making lows, but then higher lows will come in on RSI. That's not the case. RSI is also absolutely dying. So we don't have the argument for perhaps we're going to get weekly bullish divergence. We don't have the arguments for that yet, right? So we're going to need a relief, right? And then another lower low in price, which hopefully would put us a higher low on RSI. That's the only way we have any shot of putting weekly bullish divergences on the chart. Otherwise, no, we don't. Lower low in price, also lower low in RSI. This is nasty, bro. ETH is actually stinky as hell this cycle. So terrible. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on it anyway, right? So this is of course areas we have to pay attention. As much as that local area was lost, this can reclaim very quickly, right? This can reclaim very quickly. If that reclaims, you're gonna have a cumulative structure locally speaking, or you hit the next key areas and I'll just be adding some to ETH against BTC there. So that's what it is. ETH against BTC. Definitely want to still watch, but right now, like I said again, very uninspiring price action. Now Aptos, another one that was showing very good strength, but finally it seems to be catching up with the rest of the market, right? This looks ready to go and absolutely raid $4.32 to $4.60 area. You finally turned what was once support, right? Support into resistance. Breakdown, successful retest in the sense of failure from reclaim to buy, failure from buyers to reclaim. So successful retest on the seller side. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it did go down there. I don't see any reason why it would randomly bounce off here. I'd want us to rate this again and then reclaim in the future. Now pairing that with Aptos against ETH, right, maybe we see a nice little type 2 return finally on Aptos against ETH. I hope we do. I hope for a type 2 return. Even if it's a raid, I don't care, because overall I just want a type 2 return that's successful. For this wave structure to be validated, that's how I'll know, okay, time to prioritize Aptos over ETH, right? Because then that'd be telling us that yes, Aptos looks ready to run against ETH, and then we'd be looking to play that to the upside on Aptos against ETH. Aptos against BTC, again, another one that actually raided the all-time lows, right? If you take a look, all-time lows were raided. So let's see what happens. As long as we stay above that, all is fine. But if we start closing below, that's just nasty work. Nasty work. So that's Aptos. Not interested in buying spot where we not interested in leverage trading where we currently are. Okay, on Aptos. Now for spot, it's a different story. Depends. Do you want to build a higher time frame spot bag with spreading out your bids? If so, this is a beautiful area to add. Right, definitely a beautiful area to add. You just DCA down to 432. You DCA at the 432 level if you got it. Now, my personal recommendation and what I'd personally be doing is, again, if you enter anything here, it's going to be 20%, right? From the 20, 40, 40, I wouldn't adjust to 20% whatsoever. You'd have 80% left in cash, right? And that's for if you reclaim this ever back in the future, or you go down to DCA with at your lower yearly levels now, right? Since that yearly level has been turned to resistance, I have a feeling there's a very high chance we go and get this yearly level below us next, especially with the price action looking this way it is currently. So if you wanted to play very tight risk management, then I wouldn't enter anything yet. I'd wait for price to go and sweep $4.60 to $4.32 area and enter there, or very simply I'll just wait for us to get back above $5.25. yeah Now, I know some people aren't going to be under the impression you're not getting the exact bottom if this were to be the bottom. Doesn't matter. I'd rather you guys build out a very good average without getting chopped up a million times on your current portfolio and dwindling it to 40% of its current value before market goes up. Rather than doing that, I'd rather you guys just got a slightly higher entry but at a reclaim of a pivotal area like we know this is. Right, so personally speaking, I'd wait for a reclaim to add, or I'd wait for a sweep of this to add. Where you currently are, in my opinion, it's like you can probably get away with not doing anything and just adding a bit higher or a bit lower. Right, adding at actual key levels rather than a loss of key level in the middle of the ether. You're literally in the middle of nowhere right now. So just a bit lower or just a bit higher. Very simple, right, on Aptos. AVAX, now what did we say? If you lose 23.58, it's gonna matter of time before you come to 17.29. We've hit 17.29 and we're looking to get above it again. Now if the weekly closes like this, for me that is a successful sweep of that A point. Yes, it's not a 1.13, doesn't mean it has to be a 1.13. If you look at the 3-day close, the 3-day close is in 5 hours. So if the 3-day close is above, right, what you can do is you can start layering into some spot AVAX, right? And if then again layering in. So remember 20, 40, 40 again. And if you as soon as the 3-day the next 3-day candle opens, you just drop down to the hour, the daily, the hourly, the 4 hours, right? You'll be looking for retest of this key area. If you get the retest and the retest is successful, you just size up slowly. If not, you just cut it if you start closing below 17.29 again. right? The risk is literally non-existent, virtually non-existent here. So, but right now that's looking to be a successful sweep of that yearly level. I believe you also went and swept this. Yeah, you went and swept 1556 as well, right? So, you know, below this area, all you have is a fair value gap on the weekly. You have a monthly fair value gap, to be honest. One sec. So again, the mid of the monthly fair value gap, right? That's been tagged, it's been held. So you had a zone, right? You had a zone here between the mid of your monthly fair value gap and then your yearly level. That was the zone that needed to be held, and currently that is the zone that is holding. So above this zone, you're looking for scalp to swing mindset trades on your lower time frame / leverage accounts. For spot, you're just looking to bid, and below this cut, above this, you know, be looking for reclaims of important levels to size up, and then a trend shift to get the final allocation in, right? But if you do get below this box, then in my opinion, you get the 1.13, right? So basically around this 1.13 to $11.88, you'd be surprised if these levels got hit next, right? If you lost that red box. So just something to watch. But let's take a look. That's AVAX, right? Say. Where's everything going on, say? Right, so you're obviously below that, the grey box, we know that is very, very important. This is now turned off for now. Yep, not needed. Not needed. Right, potentially ongoing wave structures. We have an 886, right? We're hovering around our macro 886 for say. If you take a look, A, B, C. As long as we can put in some sort of macro bottom around this 886 area, 1.13 wouldn't be out of the question per se, right? But the question is again, do we put in the macro bottom, right, around this area? Otherwise, in terms of completed now, what we've got that old harmonic setup, that 886, that shock. We've also come down and hit your macro shock, right, from that external, your X, A, B, C, D. You can see we've come and hit the macro shock as well. Therefore, you know, this is just a really, really nice PRZ for us in terms of that, right? So that 886 down to this 886, right? You have your 886 in terms of your normal retracement. You have 886 in terms of your shock between this purple and this green, i.e. the white box. As long as we can hold this white box again and, you know, reclaim some key areas, you're looking for higher on, say, right? Now, your areas where you wouldn't be surprised if it did bottom out. So therefore, you're going to be looking to plan your entries on this, right? Again, spot couldn't get easier. Like I said, 3-day closing 4 hours. To be honest, 3-day doesn't look the best, right? That's just a indecisive candle. But above the 886 of the shark now, right? At the end of the day, if you wanted the most simplest way to trade this, you just put your stop loss below that level, right? If you look to the weekly, have you had any sort of higher time frame duking out? No, you literally haven't. So I just literally do something like this on say, even as a trade, right? You've got something very, very actionable at this area at least, right? In terms of risk management, you know, 7.83% risk versus 58% returns, I 7.44 RR. Right, that doesn't look bad at all on say, right? But again, for any of these, especially on lower time frame, right, don't just go all in and size up. You know, don't go and put your entire portfolio on the line. We're trying to predict when the bottom's going to come in here, which is never a advisable strategy. It's more about managing a risk here, right? That's the important thing. So even if you're building your spot position, I'd still do this, right? Because below this, there's no point holding on to your spot position. You can just build a new one lower or until this reclaims again, which is why this is sort of, think of it like a universal stop loss right over there. So that's say SWI 886 tagged on SWI, right? And then OG range, so the original range, standard deviation 2 value area high also tagged, right? Again, if we can now put a basing in structure around here, basically we have a retest into previous all-time highs. You can see 2023 12-month seller zone high retested. Your 2024 peaks also retested, and again, this would be an amazing, fantastic, in fact, retest, right? Because below this, you know, you're going all the way down to 163. I don't see anything else, right? Below that, all the way down to 140. Below that, well, let's not talk about that right now, right? So again, if you're going to take a risk on, say, this is a more than actionable area to do so, right? Do we have any ABCDs on say? Let's take a look. 404i, we have a 382. Okay, so if we have a 382 here on say, if we go the 2.618 way exceeded, right? We can see 2.618 was all the way up over here, and in fact what we did, again, something gorgeous. If we really zoom in here, there we go, lock that in place. Settings, coordinates is this. Your 2.618 was turned, if you take a look, into resistance, right? So again, if your 2.618 is resistance, what's next? We know the answer to that is the 3.618, right? The 3.618 would take you pretty much, again, look at the confluence. Your next key higher time frame level, smack bang around that area. There we go. 162. So again, we have on our hands another zone of interest. Now this would be extremely deep extension, right? We have another zone of interest. So if we lose our current low of basically $2, let's say, the next area where I'd expect support to come in is the area where you have the lower to higher. So that low to this high, the point of control, the FRVP of that, you have the standard deviation 1 value area high, right? That's the macro bullish impulse. From your low to your high, the macro bullish impulse, we have the standard deviation 1 value. In fact, no, that means from the low all the way to the high, your current, right? Your standard deviation 1 macro bullish impulse value area high is in this area at 164.44, and 162.15 is your ABCD 3.618, right? So again, this level holds, you're looking for higher prices. If this holds, then you'd be looking for moves back over here, and if that reclaims, then you're not above. If that turns to resistance, then you probably get that drive down to the next area. If this is lost, you know, we have preset levels, right? We go level by level, basically. That's it. But don't get it twisted. Right now, as we speak, at the 886. So again, I treat this as an area on its own, right? Should you come back down towards this area, that is a more than actionable trade for us to take. Something like this. Even if you're just going to target the next, something like this, right? There, 5.04, something like that would be fantastic. For example, we have, let's go to the C actually. We have a liquidity triangle from that C point to there, as you can see, right? So basically to the external of the liquidity triangle, should it happen relatively soon, the move up, right? So many things at areas where you can try and plan a trade at the minimum, right? But of course spot bags as well, but you can also try and plan trades around them. Sweeping another one, right? Trump, you've hit the macro 886, you got a very nice reaction off the macro 886, but you know, you SFP'd again. But again, what did you do? You go to retest right over here, and therefore there was your entry, right? Based on this, I'll just pin it to risk reward of 3 for now, something like that. But as long as we're staying at the 886, right, we're not, you know, losing structure below it, we're fine. In terms of, okay, could we base here? Like, yes, we could, right? We could break out the supply line, we could trade sideways for a bit, and then put like a trend shift in, that'd be great. But to do that, we need to make sure anytime we do visit, like we're doing right now, back down towards this 886, that we maintain it. Because that there was a huge sign of supply. What was once an area of support, supply, right? That is bearish. So let's see if this can be maintained on Trump. If not, this thing next is death. Honestly, $3. I don't see why it bounced randomly now. The 0.94 maybe on the macro, right? But otherwise, just take it to the, basically the range lows on Trump. Now, Ondo, this one, very, very beautiful. Now, first and foremost, this Ondo is short, right? The hedge that I gave on stream a little while back. Right? So it's been like a week or so ago. That's played out, right? I actually gave two. I think I gave one over here as well when this was happening. But the Ondo hedge did play out really, really nicely. We captured 31% drawdown, right? 4.65 RR in total. And the more important, the PRZ we were talking about hit. So again, on Ondo, we know there's a lot of room now for manipulation, right? So our first area got tagged right here, right? And what I said to you guys on crypto chat was, I said, look, just treat these in the chat, just treat these like individual levels. No, individual, sorry, just treat these like individual zones. So you've got 3 distinct zones. Zone 1 is here, zone 2 is here, zone 3 is here. You play zone 1 as a zone. If you lose that, you say, okay, until we either reclaim this or we go down to the next zone, you're not going to be doing anything, right? So let's say you were to come down here and start doing this, you either get here or you reclaim, because it's close enough anyway. Don't do anything in the middle. Once you get to the next area and you see successful bid into that area, once again, you treat that as a zone, you get in, and you wait for either the next level to get flipped and then you go higher, or your invalidation is if you start closing below that, you just wait for the next external target to get hit. And below this, I think it's a raid of your entire consolidation range, which is what you're hoping for. So under 3 distinct zones, and for obvious reasons, we have harmonics, we have internal harmonics, we have external harmonics, we have ABCDs, right? So that's the reason I said Ondo now are very interesting areas at PRZ. You have the 87886, you have the that below you still to provide support with. We've not actually hit it yet, right? So Ondo, very, very interesting one to watch too. And this is the reason I already gave Ondo as a look. This is Ondo. This is how I'd want you guys to do it if you were to do it. As a player, I've already given this, right? And then let's look at Doge. We looked at hype already. Doge, very, very strong sell-off. If you look at Doge, have we lost the second box too? No. Second box filled perfectly. Look. So again, we were looking at, remember we said we have one big zone on Doge, but what we also have is the fact that that was a huge zone to try and manage anyone's risk. So we split it off into 2 distinct zones, still based around now our key levels, right? One key level here, another key level there. So if you lost the top zone, which was again support, resistance, support, right? Resistance, resistance, support. We're saying if you lost that, then you're going for the lower one, which is again support, resistance, 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 support. You came and you used the lower support. Your 2022 12-month macro read seller zone mid, right? Again, data we had already from 2022. 3 years later, we've come and once again tagged that as support right over here. Very, very strong reaction off that as well, right? So again, remember daily price action, for example, 1 hour entry models. When you see something that successful retest on the hourly, you wait for your confirmation candle to open, put your stop loss below, retest wick low, right? That's how you would have played this. And then risk reward minimum 3. Have you got a risk reward of 3? Yes, you have, right? So that was as a scalp, that was what you had. But as a spot investment or higher time frame wise, again, a beautiful area to try and manage risk, right? Of course, the risk would have been better managed down over there at the actual key level, right? The actual mentioned key levels. But even here, right, you can very easily manage your risk over here. If you lose this, however, if you do lose the 0.1454, I think you go and give us that 886. You give us that right, 0.5. There we go. XABC. Right, there you go, 751. Therefore, that 886 right over here. There. Around 12670, right? So that is your next zone to watch for, between here and here. 670. There we go. Right. Let's see what kind of price action we get here. Ultimately, like I can see something like this happening. To be honest, come wick, reclaim on the higher time frame, and then send it. That's something I'd love to see. But if not, and you know this is it, then at the area we currently are, I'd wait for 2021 12-month sellers on low to be flipped to support. Right, that's what you're rejecting off right now. Either that or just wait for this low area to get hit again. Even with spot, you know, we can still apply, you know, risk management and discipline to it, right? No point just blindly entering here. You know, all of us can set alerts up. It's going to take one button to set an alert up. So just set an alert, set an alert up around these two levels, right? If you go and see you're crossing this and you're flipping it, just enter, right? You can put your stop loss below retest wick low and you're trying to run it now to the next zone. But below this, well, we're not going to be surprised if you go back down to tag this level. We're not going to be surprised, which is why I'm saying, okay, do it relative to the level you're using as resistance right now. Always plan for the worst, hope for the best. Don't, you know, plan for the best and, you know, just don't even think about the worst, right? So, but yeah, Doge another one. And last but not least, PAL, you know, below this 886, it's what it is, right? I'm either going to wait for the reclaim of the 886 or I'm going to wait for that 1.13 shock to hit on this now before I rejudge what I'm going to do about this. So that's PAL. Right, let's take a look at a few more. We have Cetus chilling at the 886 itself, right? Cetus is chilling at the 886. Above that 886, above that 2023 12-month level, you have reason to be aiming higher. In fact, if you were to enter Cetus right now, I'd say your invalidation is super tight. You don't even need to wait for this wick. You're just saying, okay, right? You know, this 4 hour, for example, closes in 43 minutes, right? If this closes like this, or the next hourly candle closes green, right? Even right now, what you could do is layer into a position, and your invalidation is super simple. Your invalidation isn't even, oh, let's wait till this gets. If you close below 2023 12-month macro read buys on high, get out of your position, right? Just get out, because then you have a chance of buying this perhaps down towards 7 cents if that were to happen, right? So again, even with spot right now, I'd honestly treat it like you're just all in, right? Even if you're not all in, treat it like you are with your risk management. Because I'd rather you guys take 1% losses, so on and so, especially because you know you're not gonna go all in every single spot play, right? You're gonna do the 20, 40, 40, so you have any whatever losses you take are literally gonna be negligible, right? So I'd rather you guys cut early and then just get better entries lower than, you know, there's no point trying to catch a falling knife, enter here and you're, you know, have a DCA 30% lower at some other price. I don't agree with that right now, right? So I'd rather you guys played it tight, in my opinion. Yes, it might be a bit nasty, especially if you're seeing your stops getting hit frequently because of the fact that you know, we haven't bottomed out yet, right? But like I said, if you're doing 20, 40, 40, you know, 20% you get stopped out for what, 4% of that 20% position size. Well, you're using what, like pennies, right? Nothing at all. Nothing you can even consider as a oh damn, I should take a step back. No, you could do that literally so many times and not even be bothered, right? So in the name of risk management, I'd say play it to your chest, keep it tight. Because remember, what you don't want to do, the reason we do 20, 40, 40, you don't want to get chopped up, right? You don't want to go all in on limits just straight up on the way down without having confirmation of, okay, but our buy is going to defend this level, is trend going to hold, right? Yes, the chances are we're going to hold, right? We're at 886s. Market sentiment is a dog shit, which is why I'm saying do take the risk if you see opportunities. But again, never say 100% ever in the crypto market, especially, right? Next, ENA, right? Now, this is the reason I was telling people, look, if you missed that initial move up, don't get in. Look, you rejected your ABCD 2.0 again. You swept your supply zone. You're back to where you started, literally. You couldn't hold your macro point of control. You couldn't hold it, right? 3942. In fact, let's see if it's, yeah, still the same. The line hasn't changed. You couldn't hold it at all. So now, hopefully, what I'm hoping for is, right, if you can get the smiley face, great. Right? If you can get the smiley face, great. If you can't, in fact, let me go ahead and make this invisible once. If you can't get the smiley face, we're very close to this, the PRZ. We have the BAT and the ABCD 3.618. If you hit this, I'm looking for maybe another drive of, actually, you'd be playing it very close. It'd be great to see another drive of daily bullish divs, even if this were to hit, right? That'd be amazing. I don't know if we will, but that'd be nice to see. But for now, I just want to see what kind of reaction we get at the PRZ. Right, that's it. Either that, or if you don't get that and you don't get any of this, and you just hover here and you reclaim, just get in on the reclaim of your next key level. Doesn't matter. Right, it just doesn't matter at all. To be fair, for spot, it doesn't matter even if you were to open some here. I'll put my stop loss below the 3.618 plus the high to low point of control. I'll put my stop loss below there if you were to enter here. Okay. But rather than doing that, I'd rather wait to see if that level gets validated to begin with. Right? That's just me personally. Either that, I don't care. Just adding literally at 36 cents or 33. What's the difference when you're ultimately trying to play this up to 133 and maybe even new highs in the future, right? So just have that perspective in mind when you're doing risk management. That's that. ETH betas, LDO. We've hit the 886 on LDO, right? We talked about this 886. We said, okay, if you lose the smiley face structure, expect the 886, right? So that 886 has now been hit. We had the PRZ. Wouldn't care if this were to drive a bit lower. You have a liquidity pocket. You have 2.618. But again, this is the area. Now deep value where higher time frame spot. This is where you'd start building a position, right? 20%. Not much, because why? That's a 47% drop to your potential target, right? So 20%, and then even with that 20%, I'd just if you were to lose, let's say, right, you were to lose that 886, then I'd cut, right? Actually, scratch that. If you were to consider this as a whole zone, then you do 20, 40, 40 with 20%. But if you now do your risk management around the 886, given the fact that we've already accepted this once on the daily, then you do something like this. I'll just go over here. Look at the chop range. The chop range is there. Something like this would be feasible, right, on LDO. 14% versus 65%. Now, in terms of risk to reward, that is going to be 4.8, right? 4.8 RR trade. So wouldn't be a bad trade if you were to look for something like this on LDO around the 886. But if you wanted to play it super tight, like I said, you didn't even want to wait for a 13, 14% stop loss. I've only done this around historic price action, right? That's as low as we've gone in the past. As soon as you close like hourly 4-hour candles below the 886, right? Even 15 minutes if you're on the lower time frame, but if you're doing spot, then not 15, right? Because one thing I wouldn't do is just go all in with spot and then try to treat it like a scalp position, basically, right? That's not the nicest way to trade, right? But around this 886, 30 minutes, 1 hour candle body closes below, just cut. You can do 15 if you want. Just obviously the lower the time frame you choose, the more likely you are to be chopped out, right? The more noise there's going to be. So just choose one sweet spot, like the hourly or the 4 hours if it's for higher time frame plays. Below the 886, just get rid of it and just add again if you ever close above and reclaim in the future, right? That's LDO. OP, let's take a look. What do we have? So it's a couple completed harmonics on OP I was looking at. We have the macro now. If you take a look on OP, right, you take that low, you go to A, you go to B, you go to C, you go to D. That is an 886. We're at the 886 right now, right, on OP. And on top of the fact there's an 886, there's also a bullish butterfly right over here. If you take a look, we have a 786 retracement, 49 for basically 0.5, and then your 1.272s right over here, right? So we do have a PRZ here. So if you can maintain, and more importantly, in my opinion, if you can reclaim 0.916 cents, right, then you have a reason to be an OP with basically the external low, as that's something I'm going to put my stop loss below, right? If not, and we keep trading below, then even just because we have completed wave structures, that doesn't necessarily mean we need to bottom out there, especially straight away, right? We could chop before creating a bottom. So that's something to consider. But we do have a really nice PRZ here between two macro harmonics, so that's something to consider on OP. Let me check the chat real quick. Right, we looked at ENA, Link. I look at Link's another one. Jupe and Orca. Take a look at those. ETH on the LTF 618 1 point. Yeah, that's a valid ABCD, bro. You're right. That looks good. That's what I'm saying, right? That ETH long I gave earlier is if you want to take it, it's a valid long to take right now. I didn't even notice the ABCD, to be honest. Nice catch, bro. But yeah, so that's OP. Not interested in ARB for obvious reasons. Not interested in GMX for obvious reasons. To be honest, GMX, I'll be interested soon simply because this thing's going to go and raid like the Mexi listing lows. Now, I don't know how low this actually went, right? In terms of charts, I think this is the one with most data from exchanges. So unless this thing is to trade at like, 40 cents on some other random chart, this will be taking out the lows here. So any taking out of the lows and then reclaim of the level could be very nice, because again, you are at the bottom of your wedge, right? Your falling wedge, you are at the bottom of that. And so it's always worth taking a risk at such low risk areas, but literally, if you wanted to do this, you'd do this. This wouldn't be this isn't a high confidence entry for me, but something like that, right? GMX. Okay, let's take a look. Reclaim or die. Reclaim or die. DYDX at the lows, at the very low lows. At you hit the 1.13. Very nice. You've hit the 1.13 at the 1.13 still. Again, if the even if the 3-day were to close above like this, like I was saying, and the daily, if you get any sort of pullback to 57 cents and it's successful, your entry would look something like that, in my opinion, for a quick trade. Metis, yeah, trash. Not interested. MKR. MKR is a good one. Now Maker, again, same reason, right? This bat 2.618 and the 886. This is something we were talking about for the longest time. Even in September, Harmonic set a video. I was saying, look, I'm gonna, I think for my high time frame, like super positioning, I'm gonna wait for that. Right? This was in my Harmonic Song completed setup, because we hadn't hit the 886 yet, right? But now we've come down, we've hit the monthly FVG, we've hit the 886, and in doing so, we've hit a 0.5, 2.0, and in doing so, we've also done a 1.13 raid, right? So now it's, we've got a 7.4. You could come a bit lower to the 786, the 886, but now, as long as you're above this zone, 831, so on and so forth, you've got Harmonics taking it high, you've got a Gali taking it higher, you've got a Shark 1.13. Of course, the 86 of the Shark would also be present somewhere down over here, right? But Maker for the higher time frame, hopefully you guys can see, this one is one of the stronger looking charts in my opinion. Okay, again, I'm going over all of these now so you guys get a clue of this, the actual calls, right? The invalidations properly on. I will ping out an alert to you guys as I start rolling them out on the call section, right? For now, I just wanted to give you guys the perspective when I'm actually talking. Right, Farcoin holding still the ABCD 1.618. Below 15 cents, this thing has nothing to live for, in my opinion. Right, below 15 cents, this thing has nothing to live for. I'd expect it to go down towards like 6 cents, all the way down to 0.01. But literally turning right now, your 886 and the alternative buy at 1.13 to resistance as we speak. So maybe we do get one final flush into our ABCD 2.24 and 2.0, some sort of reclaim. If you can base round there, great, right? But this isn't exactly strong right now. I mean, yeah, you've got you could say you've got bullish divergence on the daily, but I'd want to see that follow through, get some sort of follow through from the buyers, which we're not getting that yet. Any bid is straight up met with resistance and supply, right? So yeah, that's a bit nasty. But yeah, let's see. I'm literally treating this lower by level, lower time frame, right? Higher time frame is Cancer. Farcoin is Cancer on the higher time frame. You can see from the wicks. Scalp the swing mindset, scalp the swing mindset, scalp the swing mindset. And if spot, you just forget about it. Higher time frame leverage, no. Either spot or you leverage this on a lower time frame. Polkadot, not that interested right now at range. Actually, well, if you're talking key levels, once again, I would think you finally do go and raid this entire range. Look, you just haven't had a good raid, to be honest. That's kind of mad. You genuinely haven't had a raid of this. Now you've raided that, but now you've got this, and then you've got basically you've got this, right? from here, 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 here. This got raided, but these still haven't. I think Polkadot would go and raid. I'd hope it would raid and then reclaim. Stop anyone that was long from 2021. Absolutely painful if you've been holding Polkadot since 2021 and it didn't sell and you're still holding. 4 or 5 years later, congratulations, you're back at break even. Yeah, I'd want to raid at this particular stage. Right? I'd want to raid or reclaim the M shape. But for spot, that's the thing, right? I'm talking like a leverage trader right now. For spot, like you can hopefully I can see that's so low risk, right? That's very, very low risk. In fact, for spot, if you were to enter some Polkadot here, your stop loss, you can literally just do this. It's not even far. It's like I'd say a safe stop loss is like 15%, right? Something like this on this. 10 to 15%. Just be willing to risk that, and then even if you just play the range, there's 11 point, basically 12 RR trade just to the mid of your next key inflection area above you. So yeah, that's something to consider on DOT. Tara now, very, very strong. I'm not sure why, but it's holding. It's not really dumping with the rest of the market. That resistance has still been treated as support. I wouldn't be surprised if you do get some sort of impulse up again on this, on Tara. So right now, again, same as previous, like did not change from last time. We talked about this before, even when it was in these boxes. Tara, as long as you're above this box, you can hold on to your position. If you get below this, I'll just wait in this case now for the mid of the weekly order block and lower to get raided, right? So 2 levels for Tara to enter, here or down over here. But even though this is a low cap, right now I'm pretty sure it's a low cap, but it's the fact you have the M shape, which is identified in September's harmonic setup video, and then following the M shape you have a type 2 return, right? And then the type 2 return validated the PRZ, and now getting on the reaction of it, it's looking nice, right? It's looking very, very nice. NIA, if you take a look at NIA, we have a same as before, right? We have the 1.272 of the butterfly, right? It's down over here. Yeah, right there. The 2.24 of the butterfly is just above, right over there. We have hit a butterfly. We also know our macro Gartley for NIA is just above us, right? So again, I wouldn't do anything on NIA right now, right? Simply because we're just below. It's very simple. You get a reclaim here, add. Otherwise, wait until you attack the lows again, right? That's it. You get above the Gartley 786 at 2.689. That's when I'd look to build a position again. Something like this, perhaps, right? But yeah, many things are hitting these, macro M shapes, extension patterns, 886s, 786s, i.e. deep value levels, right? So you've got to understand there's a difference between a downtrending, absolute range broken bear market and just a bull market pullback. And I'm under the belief what we're getting right now in Bitcoin is a bull market pullback, which is suppressing the alts right now. Pepe. We have the 886 of the shark, right? X, A, B, C, D. You guys can see that. There. In fact, I might as well just go and call this a 382 to keep it nice. There we go. 886 of the shark. So once again, I believe it's this one. There. If you get any sort of successful pullback into this area, once again, local smiley face, you can try and go for the play. Put your stop loss below your retest wick close of your right smiley eye, I suppose, plus your left here. Something like this, right? Wait for the retest wick, of course. This is premature, but something like that. If you want it in right now, that's how I do it. But you can see many things look absolutely amazing, right? Toncoin, we've hit our retest area. In fact, not just that, but even the 786 that we had marked out, right? Hit that very well, and we're reacting off it for now. So ton, if the 786 holds on the macro, 1.272 would be a target, around $10 ton basically. If not, and you lose this and start turning this to resistance, then the 886, right, the next key level. Very simple. Again, all of these I will put up on the relevant channels. XMR looks amazing on the higher time frame. You guys already know my thoughts on this, but even on the monthly structural Gartley, right? Consolidation, breakout, retest of the consolidation range highs, and now you're probably going to retest the macro Gartley 618 and probably holding the support and then just send it higher again, right? But let's see. Litecoin, a lot of levels here because Litecoin's got data since 2013, so on the left all yearly levels, right? So let's go to the daily to actually take a look at it. For now we've turned 2019 12-month seller zone mid into resistance, right? If that is resistance, next key target is going to be around $76. So let's see what happens here. Either that or you reclaim this back into support on Litecoin. And Uni, in terms of diagonals, you've hit key levels. In terms of the diagonals, you've hit very key levels. Now, if you were to get for some reason, right, if you were to have some sort of breakdown on Uni, there could be a potential alternate bat down towards 1.13. But for now, that seems a bit far-fetched, right? So this is going to line up with, should we get a raid of the trend line? If you go and get a raid, for example, if I was to go over here and literally just do this, right? If we were to go and basically raid all of this, right, raid the entire range, which has just been making higher highs and higher lows locally speaking in this range, if we were to raid all that, I'd look at the alternate bat and then a swift reclaim and then carry on upwards, right? Something like that isn't out of the question in my opinion, but we'll see if we get something like that. Right now you are at the 87886 though, so you can get your 12-month buy seller zones up, right? Key inflection areas, fibs, and then you can try and find your key levels around this area. Not your key levels, sorry, your entry models around this area. If my voice sounds a bit detached, I'm like sleep deprived right now, by the way, guys. That's why I'm really sorry if my voice sounds like like low energy. I've been running around like a headless chicken. But yeah, 87886. We're at the area currently, and I want to see what kind of reaction we get here. I think I should have. Yeah, there we go, right? So 87886 lining up with 2023 12-month zones, 2022 12-month zones, right? There's another one there as well. I can't see what it is, but there is other ones. Where we currently are, there is a bat, right? There you go, 0.5. 886, there is a bat. We're below it, however, right? That's the problem. We're below the 886 and the 2.618 of the bat. And of course, we have, if you look at group 1, this now is your macro harmonic. Right, we've hit T1 from this macro shock right here. Type 2 is yet to be hit, right? So here's the beautiful thing. Even if you go and raid this, right, basically, even if you go and raid that in terms of that bat and then we reclaim, that's still going to be a part of a grander type 2, right? And then you could type 2 return, and then you could get that proper type 2 reaction in the future for Uni, right? But yeah, loads of M shapes. So September entry M shapes were for, of course, the macro, but also this, right? We had 2 different completed M shapes there. You had, now in terms of key inflection areas, nothing much here. I need to redo this, to be honest. So let's turn that off. But, back down to your original 886 is from September even. Right? So it's easy enough to manage risk on many of these coins on spots, even more so if you use 20-40-40, which is my own strategy. You turn 12 months on, you look at the confluence, 886, 12-month levels. If you enter here, if you go and start close below 515, you get out, right? You get below this, you get out. It's as simple as that. So that's Uni. So let me go back to the chat. Dupe, Link, let's take a look at some of these. So Link was looking amazing last I checked on this. Right, so originally what we had here was a Gartley, right? The Gartley gave us a very, very good reaction. What else do we have here? Is this the only link charts I have? Yes, it is. Okay, so we had a Gartley that gave us this very, very nice reaction. That looks like an M shape. So let's take a look. 1 second. So from your external, that becomes a 573. Pretty useless ratio. What about if you were to do something like, okay. Oh no, but then the 786 is way past. Way past. You had a Gartley at one point here, but that's no longer the case. So let's do this. Then let's take a look at 802. So 886 is going to be here for link. And then there, yeah, got a bat. I'm going to pin this to the 0.5, and you ask yourself, was the 0.5 respected? That is the question, right? Was the 0.5 respected that we can do this? Well, if you take a look, hover over support, turn supports, right? So if I was to do this, and the 0.5 coordinates is like 19.521, 19.521, okay, 19.521. There, that was the 0.5. Was it respected? Yes, yes, yes. Resistance. Therefore, it is completely valid for you to put your B point there instead of putting it to the external wick low. Okay, that's the way I do things anyway. 0.886 then is, there we go. You have a bat in your hands, right? A bit lower maybe for link then. As long as we're below this blue box at the end of the day, you're below what used to be a bearish order block again. So yeah, you turn the mid of that into resistance, mitigated liquidity pocket. I'd be looking for $10.72 link. Let's see what we get though. Monthly demand zone as well, by the looks of things, that we're dropping into. Link. Right, the other one you said was dupe. Nasty work. We're coming down towards the 2024 12-month seller zone mid. This range here, basically demand zone, right? Get rid of this, get rid of this. Not needed, 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 not needed. Terrible price action. Nasty bearish engulfing candle. What do you even have going for you? Let's take a look. Anything worthwhile? .13. So the shark is resistance for now. The shark is very much resistance for now. 5.2, 5.8. $7.15, useless, no good, nothing useful there. Let's delete that. Okay, let's go back to the weekly, back to the drawing board. Do we have any other M shapes to take seriously? we've gone way past the 886, or down enough to the 1.13 even. So at this particular point in time for Jupiter, I would be looking at 0.4338 Ryu bro over this area, right? 0.4338. Any successful retests of that, reclaims, smiley faces, great to enter. If you get no reactions here, you keep closing below, SFPing the top. I'll look for that 1.13. The shark to hit on Jupiter here. Come on. Perfect. There we go. Okay. Nice. So then, that's Jupe, and the other one was Orca. Now I'm not sure. I think this is the one you're talking about. Orca USDT. No. Well, let's just try these two then. Okay. Okay. Looks like a very, very low volume coin. Orca USD T. KuCoin, CoinEx, Gate, Binance, Mexi, BitGet. Let's take a look. Okay, so not KuCoin, not CoinEx. This has got more data. Although that went to $57. What gives? CoinEx is that even a good exchange? Should I take that seriously? No. This seems to be the only exchange where we wick that high. Get rid of it. Gate.io and this, so might as well go with one that has volume. In this case, Gate. Nope. Nope. And this is useless. Nope. BitGet. What the hell? Okay, here we go then. So we have 12-month levels, pretty much the same whether you look at the crypto chart or the Gate chart. You guys know how to put the buy seller zones on, so let's not waste time doing that. Let's see if what do I think of it just on a macro scale. Well, we're clearly in a consolidation range. Right, you have a high and a low. You're at the range low. You've swept the range highs. Let me extend this to the left. I'm gonna do this to this right there. Right, so if you get a raid to this zone, what you can do if you really want this is you can add some position size here. So for the 20-40-40 rule, yeah, 20 to 25% you could add here, right? And then what you could say is, okay, well, your listing low is over here, right? No matter how you look at it, I'm sure it's the same for Gates, in fact. So if I did this, yeah, it's the same. It's pretty much the same scenario, right? Your listing low is over there. Therefore, if you were to raid this, it'd be a raid not only of your actual range low over here, but also of the listing low. So you add 25% to build a position size, just in case it just ramps up from here. You have something to average up on. Otherwise, you leave the remaining allocation, 20-25% entry here, or the remaining allocation for when you actually get into this zone. Right? Once you get into this zone, you're not just going to start laddering in straight away. You're going to wait until you see buys actually stepping in at a particular area, right? The mid, the low, so on and so forth. Once that happens, then you have your allocation for DCAs. You slowly deploy over here, and then your final allocation, again, you guys know how 20-40-40 works, right? Your final allocation you only add at the trend shift. But in terms of risk to reward, again, you're at an area where you can manage your risk, bro. Now, I don't know what Orca does. I've not really looked at it before. But in terms of trade, in terms of something to buy, in terms of TA, below this, I wouldn't want to be holding anyway, right? So that's why this is the area where you manage your risk. And if you start closing below, just, in my opinion, just cut your position and just add when you start reclaiming this box. But yeah, that's Orca. Right, CVX is still, I'll do it anyway, because one asked about CVX. Oh, must be on master list. 1 second. Trend-based sweep extension 786 literally turning into resistance. I can't say this looks good, to be honest with you, but does anyone in the stream know if CVX is doing anything as a chain? Now, on terms of the weekly, honestly, you could wait for the weekly for this. You can wait for the daily close. If you close above, you have a. See that this is nasty because that wick didn't take out this wick, so that's waiting to get hunted, right? But then if you do this, that's 20%. So again, you're gonna have to use 20, 40, 40. You know, if you don't want to risk missing the boat, let's say 20% entry, and you leave the remaining 80% split into two, 40, 40. The DCA one, you wait until these get raided or until local resistance gets flipped to support, right? Something like that's what I look for on, you know, of course the TP, depending on whether you're entering higher time frame or lower time frame, is going to vary. But actual risk management wise, because I don't care how high we can go, all I care about is how much are you going to lose if we're wrong. I'd love to see the raid, right? Honestly, I'd be setting alerts. If you did enter this, in my personal opinion, I'd be setting alerts, and if the alerts went off and you started closing below, I'd just cut it until you reclaimed or you went to this level here next. If you do that, you can actually size up heavier as well, right? You can size up a bit heavier because your invalidation is very close, so you can size up a bit heavier. And then, you know, as soon as you start to see, like, you know, like even 15-minute candle closes below, just get rid of it until you either reclaim or get above. So whether you do 20, 40, 40, or whether you treat it like individual levels is up to you, right? Sometimes if I'm busy, if I know I'm going to be busy, I prefer just doing the 20, 40, 40. If I know I'll have time to like be checking the positions constantly, then I'll be going for the more aggressive, like, you know, size up, but also invalidate very close kind of strategy. It's completely up to you. But the key thing here is at the end of the day, the entry model that I gave isn't because I think this project's gonna absolutely run to the high heavens. It could, I don't know, right? Or nor is it because I think that it's going to be a sound investment. It's simply because if you are wrong, we can control how much we lose. That's all I care about. Any trade I take, I don't care how high we go. I simply care, okay, but if I'm wrong, how much am I going to lose? That's it, right? And you're not going to lose much if you're wrong here, especially if you play your cards properly, 20, 40, 40, or using the levels individually. So that's CVX.
Yo, Happy Man, can you mute, brother?
Oh, finally. You're sub welcome, bro. A few of you literally joined the server recently, so welcome in. Orca holds 33% of Sol's Dex market share. Oh, okay. Crazy. Sub brother. My YG. But yeah. Okay, so there's this. Now, one sec. Let me just got a message. I need to check real quick. So if I go over here. Okay. I know I said I'll do stocks this stream, Solbro, but I think I might save that for the next stream I'll do. I'll try and do it on Sunday. Just because I've got something else I need to do in 7 minutes. I've just got a message confirmation. So yeah, what I'll do is, if there's any more, let's take a look. Let's get a quick scan. Otherwise, I'll stop this here. And I'll try and do another one on Sunday if I get the time, where we can go over stocks as well. Instead of crypto, we'll go over stocks, and that we'll do like a stocks focused stream. But no, I think I went over everything that I needed to be went over. Yeah, you know what, guys? I'm gonna end the stream here. I've got something else I need to do in 6 minutes. What I'll do is I'll do the stock stream that Sol wanted to get done, and also the Chinese ones that you were talking about, right, bro? I'll do that in a future one. I'll try and get that one done on Sunday. But otherwise, you know, sometime next week we'll get it done then. I've been meaning to go over Chinese stocks, to be honest. Yeah, no problem at all. No problem at all, guys. So I've got this recorded, so if you want to go over this again, I'll post a link once I upload it. But apart from that, I'll talk to you guys soon. Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
No problem at all, brother. Right, always my pleasure to see. Sup, Dragon, brother? How you doing, man? Right. Okay, I'll stop this recording.